president's oldest son is coming to his father's defense. Donald Trump Jr. is talking to ABC News about the Russia investigation, who his father can trust, and about the possibility of serving time over that 2016 Trump Tower meeting.
Your father has denied reports that he's worried that you might be in legal jeopardy because of the Mueller investigation. But are you scared that you could go to jail?
I'm not, because I know what I did, and I'm not worried about any of that. You know, that doesn't mean they won't try to create something. I mean, we've seen that happen with everything. But, you know, again, I'm not.
With me now, Bob Cusack, the editor-in-chief of The Hill, and Shannon Pettypiece, White House reporter for Bloomberg News. Guys, welcome to both of you. And Bob, to you first. Does it sound like Don Jr. is almost resigned to the fact that he might go to jail?
Well, I'm not so sure resigned, but he's, like his father, very defiant and taking a page from his playbook of going after Robert Mueller, saying basically that he'll go after him no matter what, and that they want to get him, and that there is a bit of a witch hunt here. So I think that this is troubling times for the president right now, because the circle of people who have turned on him, Michael Flynn, there's possibly Manafort, Michael Cohen, his lawyer. I mean, this is a troubling fall for Trump, and that's why Republicans in Congress are very nervous, because all of this is happening kind of the worst time for them.
Shannon, let me ask you, as someone who covers this White House day in and day out, Don Jr. also weighed in on this, senior administration official anonymously penning this New York Times piece. This is what Don Jr. said.
It's pretty disgusting. That's pretty sad. Perhaps it's a disgruntled person who's been thrown out because they didn't deliver on what they were supposed to do.
What's the crime, though?
Listen, I think you're subverting the will of the people. I mean, to try to control the presidency while not the president. You have millions and millions of Americans who voted for this. I think there are people in there that he can trust. It's a much smaller group than I would like it to be.
Who do you trust?
Well, I'll keep that to myself.
Shannon, it seems the walls are closing in, and this White House, who can the president trust? Are his family members the only people left?
It's been really a shrinking pool of allies he's had since the very early months. I mean, it was around this time last year that he lost Keith Schiller, and Keith Schiller was Trump's longtime body man. And at the time, I remember people telling me that they felt like that could be deeply destabilizing to the president, because Keith was someone who was a confidant, who was a friend, the first person he would see in the morning outside of his family. And it's only continued since then. And an astounding number of people who we really never thought would have left. Hope Hicks, this longtime aide, incredibly loyal to the president, left. And then there's the people who he thought he could trust, who now you see them, excerpts in books, and Bob Woodward's book, Gary Cohn, Rob Porter, who come off very unfavorably, looking as people who had not been working for the president. So I think it reaffirms this belief the president had from the very beginning, that family is really the only people you can trust. And that was something that was instilled in him by his father, coming up through a family business. And certainly when you look at the president and who is left standing behind him, it's his family and, of course, the vice president. And I would note that there's still a sense in the White House that the vice president is one of the few people left that the president can trust, and, of course, can't really go anywhere, whether the president likes it or not.
Sure. So from, who the president can trust to how much trust the American people has in this president, there was this, Bob, dramatic drop in the president's approval rating. And as Harry Enton points out for CNN.com, it wasn't just CNN. 8 high-quality polls have been completed in the past 2 weeks, and every single one of them, look at this, has Trump's approval rating falling. What do you attribute this to, Bob?
I think several things, Brooke. I mean, those numbers are bad. I mean, this is a Trump slump here. I think the anonymous op-ed, I also think the Bob Woodward book, despite the booming economy, I also think the John McCain death. Remember Trump down the stretch in campaign rallies as McCain was on his deathbed, he took shots at him for voting against the Obamacare bill, and that, I think, did not sit well. Especially you had all the dignitaries at the McCain funeral, including former presidents, former vice presidents, but Trump was not invited. So I think that has all boiled it in. And if you look at the generic ballot of voters, where they think Democrat or Republican, who they're going to vote for, that's now a double-digit lead for Democrats. Now, we still got a long way to go for the election, and the Senate map is very Republican-friendly. So I think the odds are Republicans are going to hold the Senate, but the House looks more and more like it's going to flip.
And I would add to that, Brooke, just talking to people sort of out in the field who are working on some of these midterm campaigns, this immigration, family separation issue, people have told me working on the campaigns that was a real breaking point for a lot of